Welcome to Hancock's VMware Half Hour, and welcome back to another episode of Hancock's VMware Half Hour on Friday the 11th of April 2025. And it's going to be a special one today, really. We're going to go from the very start of this for newbies out there that want to get into VMware vSphere Hypervisor, or ESXi for short, because today, on April the 11th, after such a long time, when Broadcom, after taking over VMware, decided that they were going to kill the free ESXi version in the community. So I think possibly maybe for the last couple of years that we have been without VMware vSphere Hypervisor ESXi, the free version, to which a lot of people have migrated to ProMox and done an awful lot of VMware and Broadcom bashing over the removal of the ESXi free version. Well, my thanks to Broadcom, because today it was brought back. Yes, that's right, folks. You heard me right. VMware ESXi 8.0 update 3E is back, and it's free. I'll put these release notes in the description of this video for you to read, but more importantly, it reads: Broadcom makes available the VMware vSphere Hypervisor version 8, an entry-level hypervisor. You can download it free of charge from the Broadcom support portal. So in this video, I know I've done many videos before as to how we install ESXi, and only in the last couple of days in my mini Homelab series based on the ASRock motherboard, we installed 8.03D, and I did say in that video that I get many requests asking me for where do I get the ISO. Well, now you can get the ISO on the Broadcom portal, and what we're going to do in this video, I'm going to go right back to the beginning. I'm going to pretend that I'm a newbie. So I'm going to, first of all, register with Broadcom so I can download that update, download the ISO, and then we're going to basically actually install that ISO and have a little look at if it's any different really to what it is before. Now, I've already installed it early this morning. One of the first things that I've actually basically noticed is that it comes with a baked-in license. The baked-in license can be removed, but you no longer have to register for a license and input it. Same caveats really with the ESXi free. Can't be added to VMware vCenter Server. You can't use Veeam Backup and Replication or any other third-party backup products. So that's exactly the same. One of the differences is that now when you install it, it doesn't run without a license for 60 days in evaluation mode. Now it has an ESXi free license. So for those of you that have used the ESXi free before, it's a bit like sort of kind of now you install it, the license is already there and you're in free mode, as before you installed it, you're in evaluation mode for 60 days and then you would actually add the license and then it would actually convert you to ESXi free. So without further ado, I've got a coffee here. I'm going to go and get some food shortly, so I might basically pause halfway through this. So anyway, the first thing I'm going to do is, I'm like an idiot, no comments. I'm just basically going to click the portal, and I'm now going to have a little look to see. Let's click login, and I'm going to basically click the register button. So it's now asking me basically for an email address. So I'm going to give it one of my email addresses, and that's the one at meltonbeehoney.com. And if you're based in the UK and you would actually basically like to order some raw, pure honey direct from the beekeeper, then you can basically toddle off to meltonbeehoney.com and you can put your order in there. Okay, so blag over. So let's just actually basically type in the text from the image. To be honest, really, I can't really see this too well. Is that an I, Y, M, Z? Now, I have heard reports. Okay, verified successfully. That didn't really look like an A to me. So I'm going to click next. and hopefully it's going to, oh, okay. So it's now wanting me to verify my email address. Just going to go over here and fetch my phone and wait for that number to come in. Now, I have heard reports. People have been saying that, you know, they've been finding it very difficult to register with Broadcom. It needs a corporate email address or something or other. You know, I'm not too sure if that's true or not. Interestingly, I've not actually basically got a verification. Oh, that's because I've actually basically typed it wrong. It's Melton Bee Honey. I've got Melton Honey there. We'll have to start again on that, won't we? So let's try again. Andrew at Melton Bee Honey. And that's type in HZER followed by next. It would help if I could actually basically type my email address correctly, wouldn't it? Okay, so waiting for an email. And this will just give me an opportunity to just quickly go through my inbox and have a little look what spam that we've actually got on there today. I'll just pause this. Not too sure whether or not that we've got a lot of people today basically registering accounts. Oh, there it is. There it is. Customer support at broadcom.com. Thank you for registering with Broadcom. To continue, please enter the verification code on the registration screen, which is 835700. Verify and continue. Okay, so it actually basically wants me to complete my first name, last name. I know there have been a few people basically sort of kind of bashing Broadcom and sort of kind of saying, you know, I don't want to give my name and address and details and everything. I don't know why. You know, it's not really any different to any other. What am I? I'm an other. That's what I am. I'm an other. So I'm going to basically probably just use, can I actually basically use, okay. So I'm going to have to log in with my password into 1Password, and I'll get them to generate. Oh dear. Let's see if that works. No. So I've not had my coffee yet. That's what's going on here? Caps lock was on. Strange thing about this keyboard, I'll use that suggested password. Yes, please. And I'll edit that and I'll call that Broadcom Honey. And that username there was Melton Bee Honey. Save. And we'll create the account. I don't need to build a profile, but I might as well at this point. Product documentation, communities, public sector, public knowledge. Yes, I want to build a profile. You don't need to. I'm just going to basically tick Broadcom software and VMware hands-on labs. It actually basically wants me to. Oh, he wants me to enter all that in again. Okay, Melton Bee Honey. Probably actually thinking to themselves, why does a honey producer want to use hands-on labs? 07980860134. That's not my number, by the way. Address, the Hive, York, United Kingdom, York. Y014AA. Submit. Confirm and continue. Close. You don't have to build a profile, but if you want access to VMware hands-on labs, then you will need to create a profile. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, it would appear that it's actually logged me out. So I'm going to log back in. And the easiest way to actually basically find the downloads that you want. So I should have here Broadcom Honey now, and should be able to sign in. So Broadcom have made it a little bit easier. They've obviously recognized that their site is difficult to use. So if you actually basically go to, this looks a little bit, there we go. If you go to VMware Cloud Foundation, and if you go to My Downloads, there's at the top now, they've created a little link that says free software downloads available here. Go this way. So they've obviously sort of going to recognize that the site's a little bit awkward to use, really. I think we all know that. Broadcom, your site needs attention. It's not the easiest to use. Anyway, free software downloads available here. This is where you would actually basically go to download VMware Workstation Pro, in fact, because I know an awful lot of people get confused, because I think Broadcom still licenses VMware Workstation Pro, I think, to some enterprises, and that's a different product with a license than the free version. Anyway, so now we're going to basically click its full title on its birth certificate, VMware vSphere Hypervisor, commonly known as ESXi. Okay, and again, VMware vSphere Hypervisor. So I'm going to click that. Now, somebody actually turned around and said that you need to create an account on Broadcom because of export restrictions, etc. But I'm not sure that's really true. You know, like, I'm not quite sure really what Broadcom are going to get from Melt and Be Honey using ESXi. In fact, you know, under the VMware guys, we actually had lots of accounts there because of these videos. Well, some of them were Andy's Aquatics and all sorts. And then come the migration from VMware to Broadcom, you know, they were sort of saying, do you want to migrate all these accounts? Anyway, so there we go. 8.0 U3E. You click it. And we have, I agree, the terms and conditions, whatever they are. And now basically I've got the ability to basically click the download button. Prior to downloading this file, additional verification is required. Okay, this was something that didn't see on my last account, so let's proceed with additional verification. What additional verification is this? Maybe it's actually asking me, oh, okay, trade compliance. Yeah, I agree with all that. Submit. Province, state, Yorkshire. Submit. And that maybe probably there is, they're checking to see that you're not from, I don't know, one of the countries that's on the export list or the banned list or something or other, you know. Anyway, so I'm going to click the download link now, and that's just going to bob up there. You know, that's going to download 618 meg. And what we're going to do, you know, we're going to go from the very, very start here. You know, if you look back and look at some of my videos, you will know that, you know, I love basically running checksums, looking for MD5 SIGs and SH2 SIGs. I love doing that. I've done a video about that before. And it still surprises me really that, you know, there are so many people out there that are downloading ISOs and things and spend all afternoon trying to find out, you know, why it's not working properly, only to find that effectively eventually it's because the ISO is actually corrupted. So there we go. So we've downloaded that, and what I'm going to do, oh look, there's the memory tiering over NVMe Tech Preview. Done a video on that. It's not published yet, but it will be shortly. And I must include that that link as well. That's in our mini Homelab series that we've been running. And of course, you can use memory tiering in 8.0 U3E as well. You know, that's something that I don't think Proxmox has. Right, okay. So I'm basically going to have a little look and find my, I think it's in my utils folder. Hang on. So I did find it in my utils folder. So you know, this is MD5 and SSH checksum utility for Windows. So I'm just going to have a look in our downloads folder. I'm going to pick the download that we picked down. I've already downloaded before. And I could just paste that sh2 hash in there and click paste, verify. Yay! There we go. The download basically is correct. Now, I'd recommend you do that. As I said, the number of people that I see saying, oh, I've got this problem, it's not installing properly, it's crashing, etc., etc. And, and I turn around and say, look, the signatures, the SH2 and the MD5s are published there for a reason. They're published there for a reason, not at the kind heart of Broadcom, but for you basically to use to download that you've actually basically got Pucker download. Okay, so we're 15 minutes in, and this is a Hancock's VMware half hour. It's not Hancock's VMware all day. So let's move on. So I'm going to copy that up to our ISO share. I'm just pausing here at the moment to work out what we're going to do with this. Okay, just let me, I'm going to have a slurp of coffee first of the day, and while I'm having that slurp, I'm going to have a think. Okay, I've had my slurp of coffee. I'm going to have another one actually. What I've decided is I've got no free bare metal here available at the moment in the state that I can actually basically install this on. As I said, predominantly here we are, other than the hypervisors that obviously sit on bare metal, everything here really predominantly is virtualized, other than obviously desktops that we have. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take our oldest cluster that's actually basically running on vSphere 7, and I'm going to create a virtual machine on this, and we're going to do some nested ESXi 8, etc. But it will actually basically, it's exactly the same thing. Only difference being is I'm going to create a virtual machine for this. So I'm going to call this vESXi 8.0.3E2. I've already got one that I did this morning, so I'm going to do followed by next. It's going to be in production cluster. We've got vSAN fixed now after several months. It's actually several, I think it was about 6 months. I think it went out in September 2024. That's how long it's actually taken me, because I love you guys. I spend all my time editing and doing videos and no time to work on my own Homelabs for stuff. Okay, so vSAN data store, ESXi 02 and later, yes. Now of course in VMware vSphere vCenter server, we've actually got a lovely option for VMware ESXi 7 or later, followed by next. I'm going to customize the hardware. I'm just going to go with the prompts, 2 cores, 1 socket, 8 gig of memory, 40 gig disk, browse. I'm going to use VM network. The only other thing I'm going to do is connect the data store ISO that sits on it's currently in our ISO's NAS VMware vSphere 8, I think it's under. It's not in there. vSphere 8. And there it is, VMware VMvisor installer 8.0 U3E24677879 underscore 886 and 64. So I click OK on that. I'm going to click connect there. Going to click next. I'm going to click finish. Next thing I need to do is to power it on and connect it. Now, a couple of people already have started asking. It's unclear at the moment how you'd actually update it. Obviously, you could probably download another free ISO that Broadcom would release, and then you'd sort of kind of do an upgrade over the top of it using the ISO. It's unclear at the moment as to whether or not that you could carry on using the over-the-air, the dirty method, because of course that will require a token from the 23rd of April. And the depot files as well are usually only actually provided to organizations with an enterprise agreement, or an agreement and a contract and a site ID. So there's the questions at the moment as to how you'd update it in the future. I know there's an awful lot of people sort of kind of turning around and saying, you know, oh, well, you know, you don't want to use it because Broadcom might pull it at any moment, etc., etc. Again, you know, the usual sort of kind of, you know, VMware Broadcom bashing, you know, which, you know, to be honest, it really is, it's not a surprise because, you know, for years, Windows, Microsoft have been bashed by the Linux community. So now the Linux community basically just turns and starts bashing, you know, VMware Broadcom. And hopefully, and thank you again, Broadcom, you know, you're doing the right thing. You've released ESXi free back to the community again. And that is just great. That will encourage more people basically to pick up ESXi. As I said in my last videos, I still think that there is huge mileage in using VMware vSphere ESXi in your home lab for training, for practicing. So, you know, you can obtain, you know, experience at home, you know, basically for applying for that next job in, you know, VMware vSphere land. So I still personally believe that there's great mileage for this. And now that 8.0 has been released, will we get a 9.0 offered to the community? That's the next question. You know, but it's good to see. And Broadcom, you're doing the right thing. Tell you what, give me a call and talk to me about doing your marketing. You know, I'd love to come and work for you. With all that's gone on, I can forgive you in my heart. Okay, right. Enough of that. Okay, so let me start up this virtual machine. Okay, so I think we're running. I think we're getting there. So I'm just going to launch a web console into this. Yeah, there we go. Look, we're booting. And these are some of the things we couldn't see the other day if you were watching that mini Homelab video. And we were booting that over BMC, UEFI boot, and it was all gobbledygook. No idea why. It's the first time I've ever seen it. So, you know, here we are. You know, we're actually nested here on one of those Datto servers, which has been AS Rock Rack modded to stock. So as I said to you before, you know, I use them here exclusively for production workloads and also home labs. If they're good enough for me, then I think they're good enough for everybody else. And as I just want to say to you, you know, they are cheap as chips, and I think that they are certainly one of the servers that I don't think people pay much attention to. And I think because people don't pay much attention to them, I think that's why they fly under the radar, and I think that's why they're available quite cheaply. Because people basically go after the Dell R640s or the 750s or 730s or 720s. And I've got loads of those. And they're good. And it does actually basically give you an opportunity to actually basically run real production workloads or home lab workloads and get used to all that Dell hardware, IBM hardware, HP hardware that you actually basically might see as well, which is also basically a big advantage on your CV if you can actually basically tell a potential employer that you're coming with skills and you've actually basically used HPE servers or Dell servers, and you've used iDRAC, and you know all about that sort of kind of stuff. You know, that really actually basically, I think, you know, somebody actually basically came to me and turned around and said that they had a home lab at home, and you know, they'd spent £500 on it, and they'd learned VMware, etc., and they'd learned how to use Dell servers and patch them and iDRACs. I'd employ them. You know, and going out on the limb here, and you know, so I don't think there's anything, you know, wrong, you know, with these servers. So again, you know, these servers, we have actually basically got 128 gig in them. We have actually purchased that memory to fully expand them. But again, you know, they're still running a D1541, which has got 8 cores, I think it was. 8 cores /16 if you turn on hyper-threading, but of course we know all about that now. But as you would have seen, or not yet, because I've not published it yet, you know, in 8.03, you know, we can actually basically turn on memory tiering on bare metal. So that actually basically is going to save some money. And as I was sort of kind of mentioning in one of them videos, you know, like, you know, you can buy these things that are cheap as chips. You know, this is a Crucial by Micron P3 Plus PCI for NVMe M.2 SSD. Cheapest chips. And, you know, we can, as I said, if you watch that video, then you can see basically that we can enable memory tiering. Anyway, so if you've never ever basically installed VMware ESXi 8.0.3 before, the first part of the installation really is where the installer will read all the drivers into memory. If you get a pink screen of death or a purple screen of death when you're installing it, before you get to the welcome screen, generally indicates that your hardware is not supported, or you've got a hardware issue. Now, you do need to have a storage controller and a network controller and a CPU now that are on the hardware compatibility list. There's no way of getting away from that. ESXi is a very small footprint. It doesn't contain all the drivers under the sun like Windows does. So because it's on a very small footprint and they're certified, you haven't got a huge stock of drivers basically to use. Anyway, so moving on, I'm going to hit enter. First thing I'm going to do, just get the mouse focus. Yeah, I'm going to accept the license agreement. So I'm going to hit F11. Now it's scanning for available devices. Storage devices really is missing from there. Scanning for available storage devices. Now, don't install ESXi on an SD card or a USB flash drive. It's no longer supported and it's deprecated. If you do, you're going to get into issues with corruption later on. So there's my VMware virtual disk, 40 gig disk that we're going to install on. And if you've watched the Homelab we did, we're installing on Samsung NVMe's. So I'm going to hit enter. Select your keyboard layout. So United Kingdom. Word of warning here. Make sure that you remember the password. There is no backdoor, there is no magic to be able to reset a password on ESXi. The only way, if you forget your password, reinstall is a supported method. When you reinstall, don't overwrite your existing VMs. Be careful that you don't overwrite the VMFS data store where your virtual machines are installed. You can, if connected to VMware vCenter server, you can use host profiles to reset the password. And finally, you can, if you really want to, go down that road of live CD boot it, decrypt the configuration file, hack the password, put it all back together again, and off you go. Much easier to reinstall. Just don't forget the password. Followed by enter. Okay, so we've got a hardware virtualization warning. Hardware virtualization is not a feature of the CPU or is not enabled in the BIOS. That's because I didn't turn it on, but I can turn it on later. The CPU on this host may not be supported in the future. These are Broadwell, and as I say, I think possibly maybe in the future they'll be going away. I'll maybe be able to let you know when I look at 9. So F11 to install. Partitioning the disk, caching the required files, writing them to the disk, and that's about it. And whilst that's doing that, I'm going to do this. Certainly feel really, really relieved and happy today. The ESXi 3 is back. That certainly enables me to do an awful lot more on the channel now. Because obviously we were constrained before because of the lack of availability of the product, but all that's changed. Okay, so I'm just going to hit enter to reboot. That's going to shut the server down. That's going to reboot, and we're going to have ESXi running quite happily on our hosts. There we go, loading boot.cpt. Obviously this is really, really fast because this is actually basically running off virtual disks, etc. And then we'll log in and we'll have a little look around. And then that's really about it. And we're coming up to about 30 minutes. As I said, this is Hancock's VMware half hour. It's 30 minutes. It's not all day. And my stomach is rumbling. And I want to get a nose bag because I'm hungry. It's a lovely day here in the UK. Probably really should be out looking at those bees. Otherwise they'll be hanging in front of the trees. This early warm weather that we've got will really bring them on. When I say bring them on, the colonies will grow really, really, really fast. And if the colonies basically grow really, really fast, and the hives boxes that they're in start getting crammed, then there's one thing that they will do, and they're programmed to do, and they will swarm. Okay, so we've got an IP address, 141.245.136.68. So browser, login, completely normal. Done videos on how you can actually basically replace the certificate using a Microsoft CA. So I'm going to log in, root, default username, followed by the password that I've remembered. Of course, take note and heed of don't forget your password. Help us improve. Yes, I'm going to help you improve the customer experience. Broadcom, thank you very much. Okay, that's it. So let's have a little look around. ESXi 8.0 U324677879 standard. Okay. BIOS version, these are all virtual. Serial number, these are all virtual. So as one of the things to sort of kind of look at really is the licensing, which of course has changed a little bit, is a little bit different. In now, there is no need for me to put a serial number in. It comes with a baked serial number. I'm not worried about showing you that because that's the same serial number that's generated with every single installation of ESXi. And I've done a few of these now, and it's exactly the same serial number. You can remove the serial number. You can assign another license to it. Of course, this is ESXi free, so it doesn't expire. It says never. And you can have up to 8-way virtual SMP. So you can assign 8 sockets or 8 cores to a virtual machine. Of course, the same caveats apply with this. You can add ESXi free to VMware vCenter Server. You've never ever been able to do that, so there's no change here. Different now that when you installed ESXi before, it would run in 60-day evaluation mode. So you could add it to VMware vCenter Server and all the bells and whistles, etc. And then when you actually added a free license, it would appear as it does now. So it doesn't look like there's an evaluation mode anymore. And I actually removed the license earlier to see if it would actually drop back to evaluation mode, and it doesn't. And that's exactly the same with the previous versions. It was always recommended, or I recommended, that you actually drop the license on at the very last minute, the 59th day or the 60 day, so you could actually basically use it in evaluation mode up until that point. Because the moment that you actually basically drop the free license key that was generated in the portal for you on the old VMware platform, it would actually basically then drop out of evaluation mode into free mode. So there we go. That's about it. 32 minutes, 39 seconds-ish. So there we go. ESXi free is back. Brilliant news. Thank you very much, Broadcom. Makes my life so much easier. And today, I just wanted to mention I'm running an old Experts Exchange shirt. So if you want to join a community and you want to join the #1 original tech community in the world, then I believe that Experts Exchange are still doing a free 90-day offer. So you can join up and you can find out what Experts Exchange is all about. So finally, all there is for me to say is, if you've enjoyed this video, then please thumbs up. If you don't like this video, I'm sure at the moment that I'm not getting the Proxmox VMware Broadcom bashers on. Anyway, if you don't like it, then don't like it, and give me a thumbs down and explain to me why you don't like it. But don't forget to subscribe, because things at Hancock's VMware half hour are going to start getting a little bit more interesting. Now that Broadcom have brought back VMware vSphere 8 Hypervisor free. Yeah, I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep saying it in every single video from now on. ESXi free is back. Maybe I'll get a tattoo. VMware ESXi free is back. Anyway, thanks very much for watching this video, and come back for lots more videos. I was actually basically saying to one of the vExpert community leaders that I really am getting stacked now with videos that I just don't have the time to to edit. You know, maybe I need to outsource the editing now. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. I'm going on a bit. We're coming up to 35 minutes. So cheerio, and I'll catch you again for another episode of Hancock's VMware Half Hour.